allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Al Poole.
Here.
Mike Cunningham.
Here.
David Walker.
Here.
Soren Peterson. Here. Chuck Schultz.
Here.
Marcy Husted here, and Marna Smith is absent.
Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No.
I have none.
Okay. Motion?
So moved.
Oh,
It's been motioned and supported to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's been approved. Approval of the consent agenda, the regular board meeting minutes from June 6, 2017, the treasurer's report, clerk's warrants, and bills.
So moved. Support.
Been motioned and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, communications. Item number 1, revenue and expenditure report ending 5/31/2017. Planning Commission annual report 4/1/2016 through 3/31/2017. Planning Commission approved meeting minutes from May 16th, 2017. The Planning Commission meeting synopsis from June 13th, 2017, and the fire report ending May 31st, 2017.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and supported to receive and place communications 1 through 5 on file. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Public remarks. Anybody want to make any comments to the board? Okay. We have no unfinished business. We're going to move on to new business. Item number 1, request for concept plan approval of the Ledgewood Ravine Site condominium application. Mr. Edwards is here. This is a site where he's going to do some development just off of Lake Shannon. That would be south side, is it? Or yeah, southwest side of Lake Shannon. I'm going to tell you, I've seen Mr. Edwards. He's very concerned about this project. He's been to the township numerous times, wanting to make sure that he's following our ordinance, doing everything right. He's also a resident of Lake Shannon, so he has a vested interest in this community as a resident as well as somebody who's developing it. And I can tell you, I admire his efforts, and I wish that more people had just a portion of what he had when they come in to do development. So.
Put a lot of hard work into it.
Yeah, he has. So, Al, did you want to give us a synopsis? And
Yeah, we reviewed this, and he meets all the requirements for the concept plan approval, and I would move that we approve this.
can I ask one question? What is meets and bounds parcel? What does that mean? It says 6 single-family residential condo units and at least 1 meets and bounds parcel resulting from a boundary realignment.
you want to answer that?
It's not a platted lot, it's described by the boundaries of the sides of it when you do a survey.
So basically, it means it's just a part of the site condo or subdivision that's not going to be developed.
No, it's actually not, it's not part of the site condo, but it's part of the property that's involved in the development because it's part of the land division.
Oh.
But it's
Okay.
not,
Gotcha.
but it's not a platted subdivision lot, it's not a condo unit, it's a separate parcel. There's lots of meets and bounds parcels in Livingston County.
Okay.
Sure.
But it's there because it fits within the boundaries of the,
Right.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Support. I know you're looking for that.
Wait, before we make a motion on it, we have, an option to approve this with conditions. I will tell you, we've had a lot of residents from Lake Shannon concerned about the water quality, and I've had Mr. Edwards graciously put money in escrow for our engineer to review this. So I would hope that if we go ahead and make a concept approval tonight, that it would include a stormwater review from our engineer just to get an extra set of eyes on it, because the last thing we want to do is send any particulates, pollutants, or dirty water into Lake Shannon. I think that would...
Yeah, that seems to be the main
The big
concern
oh,
of
yeah.
the residents.
And
is
there
water
has,
flow.
we've already had an issue of this, that where it was going down over by the Miskovich property on the other side of the lake, and that was a big hubbub. And it was prior to me being here, but it's still talked about to this day, so. But did we already have a motion on this?
So you have a motion. If you want to amend your motion, then if you ask the
To
second.
have the engineer look at
amendment,
the water flow. Okay, yes, I would do that.
and the seconder will continue to support.
Okay, it's been motioned and approved to request the concept plan approval of Ledgewood Ravine Site condominium application with engineering review for stormwater. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. On to the next step, Mr. Edwards.
Yeah, there's plenty of those.
Yes, there are. Item number 2, request for land division of parcel 4704-17-300-020 at 9040 Center Road.
Yeah, this came into us in pretty good shape. Seems like a pretty straightforward land division. It's right down at Linden and Center Road there on the corner. I would move that we approve this land division.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the land division request of parcel 4704-17-300-0200 at 9040 Center Road. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next is discussion of potential gravel road improvement projects. I had gone back and had Steve Wasilic, give us, look at these projects, make sure that he was pricing us right. And traditionally, we've been paying about $32,000 for not quite a mile of gravel. And the first one right here on Heartland Road, half of the ditching has already been done. There's very little trees, and it's $32,000. It's almost double what we've been paying. And I know we're in a push to get Heartland Road gravelled, down to, and start working on other gravel projects. And then I start looking, $68,000 for, $70,000 for a mile of gravel. It seems like it's getting up there, Personally, I've talked with Steve, and he says, we could probably do better if we defined a scope of work and had somebody come in and put it out to bid. So I don't know if that's how we want to pursue this going forward, and maybe get somebody to work on it next year. Do we want to at least take Germany Road to Fawcett and then set everything on the back burner? I don't know, but that's a lot of money for a little bit of gravel. We're paying for the tree cutting and the gravel, and they're doing the ditching.
Right. So other than time, what would be the downside of doing exactly what you just said?
Well,
I mean, obviously, you're going to lose time, right?
we're going to lose time. I don't know what these bids are going to come in. There is a chance, that could be the same, but I feel personally, I think it would probably be a little bit better to do it that way. At least we know that we're getting a fair assessment. We're dealing with, with the county road commission, we're dealing with prevailing wages and things like that. Where
Right.
if we put this out to bid,
So I guess assuming it's the same or less, what's the damage in that? Yeah, I'm trying to figure the downside out here, and I don't see a downside. You're pushing a project back. It's a time issue. I get that part of it, so.
well, we've got, some drainage issues on our roads,
It's not gonna get more expensive, right?
It may.
But
I mean-
not markedly.
If we have another huge fuel increases, then, the trucking is, but, now we're gonna have spring aggregate here, so we're not gonna have very far to go to get gravel.
Right, so your transport will be shorter.
So, and I don't know if this was included in this price or not, but, we were paying, 30,000 for a mile, I thought we were getting good bang for our buck. You know, maybe some things have gone up, you know, I don't know, but,
Seems like a lot of money for a mile of gravel.
But they,
well, that's not even a mile, it's
No,
actually
it's
half of that,
right.
half of that's already done. It's actually a quarter, it's
okay.
probably a quarter mile and 32,000. And I know it's probably high and it might not come in, but I just looked at that and I'm like, wow.
but they're gonna do, all of the drainage work. They're gonna pay for the drainage work for these projects. So I don't know how much that might be if we have to pay for that on our own. Would we be looking to have Phil go out and do an assessment? Potentially?
He could. It's real easy. He could take a look at he could literally go down between Fawcett and Germany. There's a little bridge culvert there. He can look to the north and see what they did, and then he can look to the south and see what needs to be done and see if that is value for our buck. It doesn't have to cut into.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, you could also write the specs if we wanted to,
Yeah,
in terms of establishing scope of work for,
yeah, we can do all that, but honestly, you're gonna have a real hard time beating that county price when you put everything together and your risk level goes way up, when you put it out to bid for a private company. So that's the trade-off, is they're only going to give you a price for exactly what you asked them for. Anything beyond that is gonna be an extra, and that's, you know, hold on to your socks time. It could be very expensive very quick, because they have you over a barrel, where the county typically doesn't take that approach. You know, they're a lot more friendly on unknowns. So the trade-off is, you might get lower construction amount slightly, but you're then gonna have to pay a little more for engineering, because we're gonna have to make sure, you know, if you leave I's undotted and T's uncrossed, the contractor's gonna find it, and that's where he's gonna zero in and nail you. So it becomes that balancing act.
And I've heard that. That's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, that's
so
the
what I'm hearing you
balancing
say
act,
is
right?
stop whining because this is much more predictable. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
No, it's just,
Because that's what I'm hearing you say.
for $32,000, you're gonna have a hard time beating that. Once you start getting upwards of $100,000, then it starts to, you know, when you get in that neighborhood,
Then it becomes scalable for them.
then it might be
Yeah.
a thing where you can look at it and see, hey, maybe I can get some value here. I mean, on that smaller stuff, especially when you add in the drainage work that the county's throwing in, you're not gonna get a local guy to do it for $30,000.
Right.
But you get into the bigger projects, then you
Sure.
might get a contractor, you know, a bigger contractor with more equipment and more efficiencies that can do it.
And we know how expensive the tree removal is. I don't know how many trees you know, have to be removed there, but
Right.
we know that that's pretty expensive.
And historically, we haven't been billed for the full amount. I mean, our last project, we had it
It was way
way
low.
under, so we have money left over from that. Obviously, we're gonna be transferring. Yeah, Phil, go ahead.
Does Steve give you more of a breakdown of how he calculated those prices?
He did not.
You might want to ask him for that. Jody has done that on most projects that she has done in various communities, is she'll give you more of a breakdown than just 8 numbers. You can kind of see,
Okay.
how does the gravel cost compare, how does the trees, all, you know, all of that fold into there with a little more,
Sure.
you know, and I don't know how much gravel they're putting down. I read the letter, I'm like, well, is he putting down 2 inches or 4 or 6, or what exactly is he
Right.
putting down?
I think they're putting 6 inches of gravel down. Now, as far as these roads go, the Heartland Road to Fawcett is important. It's high traveled, and we got water that cuts back across the road. Mabley Hill is important because it has absolutely zero rock in that road. It is clay, and they chloride that. And in the wintertime, it's like an ice rink. You'll slide right off that road. I've driven down it in 4-wheel drive, and it was all I could do to keep from sliding off the road. You know, Heartland Road, as nice as it would be to be finished from Fawcett to Partial, I would say that, you know, that one could wait if that's something that we want to do. Or, you know, we could pick one, pick two, pick three, or pick none, whatever we'd like to do. So that's what I have prepared based on prior discussions. And
I like the idea that Phil said of getting a breakdown of the costs, a more detailed breakdown. Just, and then we
what would
can-
would that cost breakdown make any difference in the decision that we're going to make?
Well,
Road's worse. What section of road needs the attention?
Waverly Hill's pretty bad.
Pick the worst first.
Worse is only gonna get more expensive faster in
Well,
time.
and here's the other issue. We've already got them out here doing gravel and ditching. Germany to Fawcett is not that much, and it'd probably save us some money to have them hit that while they're out here. Because we're literally talking, you're familiar with Heartland Road, we're literally talking from that culvert at the bottom up to Fawcett. They have it listed as the whole thing, but it was done last year. That was a little extra that was done. They went in and ditched it, and the trees are gone, and it's draining real well, except for the little spring right there in front of the Gardner Cemetery that popped up. So.
Refresh my memory, what do we have budgeted for this?
I think that we would pull money out of the road fund to do this.
Right.
We've been socking money away every year in the road fund, and that's just transferring it out. It would just be transferring it out from our road fund. We budgeted, I think, $90,000 for roads, but that's for chloride.
Right.
And anything that we do, that we approve, we pull out of the road fund, and the road fund's got,
Waverly Hill's been nasty for a long time, a very long time. And this is one of the roads that we were talking, I mean, we had planned on spending money on these gravel, a couple of roads this year, correct?
yeah.
So,
Seems worthwhile to hit that one, for sure.
now, in retrospect, with all the stuff we did to Heartland Road before, we should, unless that isn't anything to finish up what we did a couple of years ago, is it?
Well, we just started doing chunks of it, and we've got, it's nicely paved all the way down the center. And then we did that big center, or the above White Lake pavement project. It's shaky up to the north.
Just before the city line?
Yeah, it's pretty bad up there. And I've talked with the city of Fenton. I said, hey, if you're gonna get somebody out there to do that, let's talk about, utilizing the equipment and bringing it a little bit further and, splitting the cost so it makes it cost beneficial for both of us, because we know mobilization, moving equipment is expensive. So we started on Center Road, and then we did up to, I don't know, a little ways up, and then we went to Gordon Road, now we're down to Germany Road, and it's just, it's getting gravel in there, and I'll tell you, it sets up nice in the summer, it's nice and smooth, and it's good in the winter, and
Has the city given you any indication as to if that's on the radar a year, 2, 3?
I ask Lynn
5?
every year, and it's not on this year.
Okay.
You can only, give me a year or two at a time, but he says there's no immediate plans to do that.
I mean, another 2 years, and I'm gonna have to put my truck in 4 low to get to Fenton, because it's getting pretty bad. So,
You can always go to Heartland.
yeah.
There's some good insurance companies down
I
there too,
will,
in case you
yeah. I have to go, probably wants to go there.
They can fix your truck if it,
Yeah. I mean, I don't, obviously, part of the balancing with this, that we're trying to figure out whether we're doing it individually or collectively, is you don't want to break the piggy bank if next year, right? So you break open the piggy bank and you do all three projects simultaneously, and then suddenly the city of Fenton raises their hand and say, hey, it's become a priority, we're gonna fix Heartland Road, you'd go, damn it. That's
Spent the money
exactly
last
what,
year, yeah.
you can almost guarantee that if we do it, that's when they're gonna raise their hand and say, let's do it now.
We've got enough money there.
Look, it's only gonna get more expensive. These are not roads that are gonna heal themselves, right?
Right. And we're never gonna, this isn't happening in every community, this matching and stuff. We're one of the exceptions because of the distance they
Oh.
have to travel.
Yeah,
So
no.
we're getting something,
Yeah.
and I think it has to do with a lot with our pavement preservation participation that we've been doing every year, so.
So if you ask me to gut call this or the gut check call on this, do them all. Because it's not gonna get any cheaper, they're not gonna get better, they're not gonna heal themselves. Let's get them fixed.
Can we take all three of the projects right now this year? Budget-wise?
What do we have in road fund?
That's getting up there.
I
That's-
was looking, it looks like we have at least 280,000,
Minimum, we've been able to,
and that's probably covering chloriding too.
Is that what we have budgeted for the year?
Couple $100,000 in that account.
Well, this, I'm looking at the transfers. I don't have that actual budget part here, but I'm looking at the transfers that we've made to the road fund for 17, 18, 280,000. So,
There's only a couple $100,000 in the road fund right now, so if we don't wanna drain the swamp in that, do we?
I kind of think that we ought to do the Fawcett parcel and the Mabley Hill. Not Fawcett to partial, Germany to Fawcett and Mabley Hill. And then that doesn't put too much work on them. They'll get it done and, you know.
You're talking Mabley Hill Road attention?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that, in my opinion, I think that's the worst of the three.
I would put that as priority one.
Yeah, if you're gonna number them. So if you were to do those two, and we find out when we get all said and done that it's, I don't know, pick a number, anecdotally 20, 30%, less than what they projected, would there still be time in the season to do the third?
Depends how quick they get out there.
I mean, I guess that's the question. So I guess my point is, let's do 1 and 2.
Let's do, you want to, we'll go back and look at the numbers too. And let's do Germany and Fawcett Center, and let's not exclude Fawcett to partial. We can talk about it at another meeting.
Okay.
Just get those lined
Yeah,
up.
I think that's
Get the ball rolling on those two.
correct.
Okay, so let's get a motion then. Everybody's in agreement.
Yep. I move that we proceed with, as portrayed in the outline, Heartland Road, Germany Road to Fawcett Road with an estimated cost of $32,000. Mabley Hill Road project, Center Road to Roan Road with an estimated cost of $70,000.
Support.
I won't repeat the motion. But it's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries.
Where's our road fund on here? Too many numbers and skipping over it, but
no,
We
it's
have-
not in there. That's
not
just
in there.
general
It's not in that
fund.
So next on the agenda
It's in the
is,
big pile.
a big pile, big one.
It's like a big bag of money.
At some of the previous meetings, they talked about doing McGuire Road from Fawcett south. Is that
we've already approved it.
It's already.
Yep. That was last meeting.
Yep.
Next is Spicer Engineering's Building Future Use Study and Quote. We'd asked our engineer to go back, and Phil graciously gave us a new proposal.
And I just graciously.
He's outlined, basically the scope is to look at rehabilitating this building and then potentially the feasibility and cost of expanding the building. think everybody's had a chance to look at this. Anybody have any
I can't find it.
questions or
I think this
concerns?
fits more in line with kind of what we were looking for before, once we kind of gleaned through the reality of what we didn't want, or what wasn't going to be feasible in the near future, or at least the lifetime of the people sitting up here right now. And so I think this makes more sense than.
Sure.
Yeah, I
And
agree with that.
who knows what's gonna come out of this, you know what I mean?
Alright.
So that's, I think we need to at least do that, because we've got some things that we need to either rehab or remodel or do something with, and they need to be done in short order, so I think we should, get moving on something, whether it be this proposal as it's presented, or,
Well, we need a feasibility study of something of this nature anyway, regardless, and it sounds like we're getting something of as-built
Right.
with this as well, which is very much needed,
Right.
so.
And
That
we're not being
doesn't-
unrealistic or dreaming too, so.
And that does include the as-built drawing?
Yeah, that's item 2, Roman numeral 2, is preparing that detailed record of this existing building as close as we can get it,
Right.
for all the
I'm sorry.
structural, all the IT, all the mechanical, electrical systems, everything in here, tracing it. Basically, I've got guys coming down, the electrical engineer's just gonna spend all day just tracing lines, following lines.
that,
when they go.
that in itself is worth the cost of the quote,
That's
so
right.
hurry
I
up
think
before he
so.
changes his mind.
First off, I'm in favor of having that done regardless, and for
Yeah.
that price, I would make a motion to approve the proposal.
Support.
Been motion and supported to approve Spicer Engineering's future building use study and quote. Any further discussion?
Recommend we prepay before he comes down, takes a look at the place and changes his mind and changes the price, but beyond that, no, that's.
Scare them away.
Yeah.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, can you get started on that?
Let me talk to the guys and see what they got. I mean, some of it will depend on their availability, some will, we may start right away.
Sure.
Because
Okay.
we'd like the report by the next meeting.
We'd like a lot of things, but the reality is, we
Guess
just.
that's not gonna happen.
All right, next is request for more hours of work for our student assistant. Marcy?
So, at a prior meeting, I had asked for approval to hire a summer student for up to 12 hours a week. And I have a student. It's not the student that I was going to hire because Lori is no longer with us. So Marna's daughter's working for us, and she's scanning assessings. What are those called?
The record
The
cards.
record cards.
And she's
And
tearing it up.
She
Yeah.
thinks she can have them all scanned by the end of the summer, and she's able to work 3 days a week, up to 24 hours a week. So, so I did a little analysis, and we had around $9,600 left in the ZBA budget that would have been used to pay Lori and a student. And so now that's available, and then we hired a new person to work in planning and zoning, and even with the addition of him, and even if I add extra hours for the assistant, I still have around $5,000 in the budget. That'll just have to be shifted from one line item to another. So I would like to make a motion to use our student assistant for up to 24 hours a week for the summer.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to use the student assistant for up to 24 hours a week. Any further discussion?
So, just so I'm clear, having said all that, what you really meant to say was all the money that you're gonna expend is already built into the budget?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. That's the Cliff's Notes version of that? Got it, okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. That is it for new business. We have no miscellaneous business, public remarks. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Been motion and support to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I nailed it to the minute.
Efficient at doing the people's.
To the minute. Someone asked me, how long was this meeting going to be? Like, I think it'll be done in 30 minutes.
I thought it'd be a short one.
We didn't have that much to,
He can sign it out later. It's fine.
yeah, that's my,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Mr.
thank
Edwards,
you.
you're welcome. I'm sure. Why push off tomorrow what I can do right now? Just slide that on down here. Al, will you grab that from her, please? Thank you.
So here's.
Mike, is there a lot of trees over there
On Maple Hill?
on that development for Mr. Edwards?
Oh, on Lake Shannon, there's a lot of trees over
A
there.
lot of tall.
I'm going to
I
add another line
don't
here.
remember just how good they are, but there's a lot
The
of,
clerk be signing
lot
this
of
as
trees
well?
out there.
I
Contract.
remember there's a lot of pine out there. Whatever. My wheels are turning, that's all, sorry.
There's a lot of them there. It's all woods, so.
There you go.
He is gonna,
I had her sign it.
we're just gonna get doing the ZBA,
I just wrote her name in and had her sign it.
taking minutes. Oops, I signed in the wrong place.
Over there, sign it, Phil.
Sorry, I signed where Bill signs. Yeah, but,
There you go.
That's funny. I mean,
sorry, I started to write my name in the wrong
Execute.
place.
that's funny.
One more, Marcy.
Yeah. So we